Hello and welcome back for Game 2, where Counterlogic Gaming face off against OpTic Gaming. And because we're starting soon, let's take a look at the starting rosters. Selecting the blue side with home colors is Counterlogic Gaming. Darshan in the top lane, Rainover in the jungle, Huhi in mid, Stixay in bot lane with his support Biofrost, and their coach, longtime Zix.
And facing them on the red side today is going to be OpTic Gaming. In the top lane, Dokla. In the jungle, Acadian. Mid laner, Power of Evil. Bot and support going to be Arrow and Big with Coach Zabuti.
So, of course, Power of Evil has honestly always been a star for OpTic Gaming, but recently I feel like he's actually burst hard into the limelight. He's been hard carrying and getting, I think, now the recognition he deserves for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really been taking over games and starting to kind of outshine some of the other mid laners. A conversation really can start for, is he the best mid laner in the league right now? I kind of talked about it a little bit in our last game, but
yeah.
You know, Jensen and Bjergsen, who are always the perennial all-stars, who are always the 1 and 2 in the mid lane in any LCS, have not been having those dominant splits, and I think that pushes Power of Evil forward in that conversation even more.
Yeah, I think it's been absolutely massive. So Power of Evil will have to be hoping to extend OpTic's win streak. They're going up against Counterlogic Gaming. CLG went all in on Huhi, their own mid laner, last week.
Yeah, and it was to significantly less success, unfortunately, for CLG. They went 0-2, and both games really did put a lot of pressure on Huhi's shoulders. In the first game, it was Renekton as kind of a counterpick into Talon. That did not really pan out. The second game, they tried to funnel him on Kled. Also did not really work out, and you know, certainly the team has a lot of trust in Huhi and in his ability to carry games, but both those games last week did not work, and they have really been working for PoE.
Yeah, so something to watch for, absolutely, because I do respect CLG trying to be very inventive, and I think OpTic had been a little bit of that as well. Of course, now new patch, new meta, new me, new players. Let's see what they can do. Kindred band away on the blue side. CLG versus OpTic very close in the standings, 5-5 versus 4-6. Playoffs can absolutely be reached by either of these rosters.
Yeah.
See what they can do with this one so far. Yeah, swaying off the band list as well. Waiting to see that tried and true North American Nocturne Aatrox bans. If OpTic do indeed care about that, there's that Nocturne. We'll see what's next.
Yeah, I mean, talking to a lot of the pros, they just feel that Aatrox is unbeatable in lane. Like,
yeah.
they actually think there's no picks that are competitively viable that beat him in lane. So, you know, it is one of those kind of just required bans right now, unless someone is willing to actually really put in the time to prepare a specific strategy against the Aatrox to try to shut it down. Then we're probably not going to see anything.
What's interesting is CLG had, it was against Nocturne more so than Aatrox.
Yeah.
That was actually their playbook last week, was finding a comp that could let a team first pick Nocturne and run a comp around that. Didn't work quite well. OpTic did leave Aatrox up, and of course, yes, instant first pick. So Dokla versus Darshan. He's going to say, no, I've got something for you. And he's going to say, let's cover Zed.
Yeah, I mean, we did actually get to see Zed from Nukeduck over in the LCS earlier today. That would be very exciting. I do think there are some matchups that I can actually do fairly well based off of a solo queue into the Aatrox. I've actually seen Singed manage to do fairly well into Aatrox. I have seen Fiora do very well. Garen is another one. Not necessarily going to see all of those sorts of picks on the LCS stage, especially because, you know, people have been feeling that split push is just not really working in this meta, that it's much more about grouping and fighting, which makes it very difficult for someone like a Fiora to really have success, even if you're doing well in lane.
Yeah.
That being said, you still can just play defensively, sacrifice lane a little bit, give that up in some ways, and kind of look for more of a more usefulness, I guess I would say, in the mid and late.
Sure, absolutely. So we'll see what comes through in later game team compositions. Right now, OpTic have locked in what I consider to be #1 comfort for both Acadian and Arrow. I think Acadian's Graves is super good. I think it's his best champion. Arrow, I think definitely Jhin is that as well. I don't think Arrow's been quite to the same MVP caliber he was back on Phoenix 1, but on champions like Jhin, it's a little bit easier for him to have closer to that level of performance, so I really like him on the champion.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how they actually perform. It's only, I believe, yeah, the second Graves game actually of the split for Acadian, but he has been a long-time Graves player, has been absolutely excellent on it. The Trundle as well as the Rakan here for CLG. I think, you know, Trundle is fine, even if there is not a true tank picked up by OpTic, but Dokla has really been favoring the tanks, and if it's going to be Fiora as a lock, it is WoW. So, so we do finally get this matchup that I was talking about. It is actually kind of locking OpTic into much more of a split push style of play. One of the reasons that this is so effective is that it's so damn easy to actually parry and stun the Aatrox off of one of the sweet spots on the queue. You can also, you know, in the early 2 queues, the first and second, you can actually dash inside of that sweet spot on the Fiora and start engaging in that fight. When the third Q for the big damage comes up, you parry that very easily, and you can kind of continue forward in that all-in. That being said, Aatrox can still push in and look to bully the Fiora in the early levels. It does sometimes take Fiora some time to get going, as we all know.
All right, so this is the counter pick that I wanted to see, though, coming into the matchup. When we started seeing Aatrox during Rift Rivals, I thought Fiora was going to be the one. We'd seen Fiora in Pro before. I know you mentioned earlier a lot of pros don't think split pushing is a viable option to end games, but we saw the Echo Fox Renekton fail twice in a row. A lot of teams had different reads what was good. So Fiora was the one I wanted to see. I'm glad we're seeing it now. It was the 8-14 nerfs to the early game of Aatrox that seemed to have allowed this to be an option here. And you can see they're starting to ban away some magic damage options on CLG's side. For example, the Heimerdinger banned away, trying to remove that as one of the magic options. But of course, still a wide variety of mages that PoE could play.
Yeah, Heimerdinger mid, not something that we've really seen much of. So kind of interesting that they are actually banning out the Heimer, despite the fact that the bot laner was already picked. Maybe PoE had been kind of using that in scrims. He is definitely one of the guys to be willing to actually, mix things up a little bit more in that regard. Gonna have a Braum paired up with the Jhin though. Pretty stable, steady bottom lane, and they want some sort of a kind of a tank, at least along with this team. And I think it does make sense, especially with double marksman. Braum always works so incredibly well, blocking out damage for them, as well as being able to apply the passive, which they can then proc very, very quickly, having multiple auto attackers on the squad.
Feels good. So Orianna the pick in for Huhi in the mid lane, which means we know where most people are going, but 20 seconds to go for the last pick. I don't expect the LeBlanc hover, but who knows? Ori bot lane, I guess, could be what Stixxay plays, though he has been pretty much only playing Marksman. A single Vlad game is the only difference there for him. And Ezreal will lock down the lineup. So a pretty standard look here for CLG with Xayah banned away. They can't pair that with Rakan, but Ezreal, of course, a pretty big mainstay for Stixxay. This will tie his most played at 3 now. Orianna, not a surprise for Huhi either. CLG playing standard, and Ahri did get buffed pretty recently. A bunch of charm duration in the early game is the major benefit there. Some mana cost as well, I do believe. So Ahri back in the mix. Power of Evil bringing that one out. Up against Orianna. Used to be a great matchup back in the day. Bringing it now as a counter pick here with that Fiora into Aatrox on the top side.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. Getting to see, another assassin here kind of in the mid lane. And Ahri, someone who really has not had very many picks at all. It's actually had 2 picks worldwide, once in North American Academy and once in, I'm not actually sure what region that is, LPL LOL. I think that is maybe the actual Academy League in China, perhaps. But either way, it won both games. We're going to be very excited to see how this does go down. Yeah, this is a high-risk, high-reward composition, I would say, for OpTic, while CLG has gone fairly standard. Yes. OpTic is opting into a split-push style play with Fiora. They also have drafted for an assassin here on the Ahri, which is going to be, I think, a tough line to walk. If they get ahead, it's going to look great. If they fall behind, the game is likely going to end pretty quickly.
Definitely is. It's going to be something to watch for. Wave clear, not the strongest strength on the OpTic side. Jhin can kind of try, and we'll see what comes through. Going to be a fun one to watch for either way as we are loading into this one. OpTic came into the day alone in 9th place. On the outside, looking in, hoping to find their way upwards in the standings. I should say actually tied for 8th. They had the same record as Clutch, but still, outside looking in, CLG have been fairly bright so far in the spring split, hoping to make it a little bit better now as they come in throughout summer. CLG, of course, missed playoffs, 7th place finisher in spring split. 5-5 here, tied for 5th. Hoping to make it towards that first place spot, hoping to make it towards that Worlds run. And their 3rd title.
Also worth noting, OpTic running 4 TPs, CLG running 1.
Wow.
So pretty stark differences there on what these two teams are trying to do. As we said, OpTic is kind of opting into more of a split push style, spread the map, be able to have that wave control at all times in the side lanes, and 4 TPs is going to help you do that. The question becomes, are you at too much of a disadvantage because of all these additional combat summoners? Can you not then win your lanes because of that? I mean, it's double combat summoners. You have the heal and ignite for CLG. You would hope that they could then utilize that to kind of get some more of an advantage on the bottom side of the map. But yeah, if you can't force an all-in, TP is going to be more effective.
It's interesting because Ezreal was one of the very first ones to bring teleport bot lane as a conventional marksman. It caught on for other champions afterwards, but the idea was rushing back for your first tier at 750 gold or whatever, and stacking up quite early on into the game.
I do think heal makes quite a bit of sense into this composition, though. There's a lot of bursts coming out of the OpTic squad, and generally you're probably going to feel if you don't die instantly, you probably have a good ability to actually recover and then win that fight, you know, against champions like Fiora and so on. We are going to see Fiora actually playing Grasp. Grasp is pretty standard these days, actually, for Fiora at the top side of the map. It's very easy to just constantly use your Qs, dashing forward with that lunge, and you're always autoing the minion, so the Grasp is always ready, and then you're trying to jump forward, proc a Vital, proc a Grasp, and you just essentially, that's the only real trading you use, is just these Qs on cooldown, but it can be very effective, and it's pretty frustrating actually to lane against.
We got some Ghost Poros as well. Renova just scared one away. Acadian, I think at level 1, put a Ghost Poro down in that river brush, and got scared out, so Renova fighting over the Scuttle. Smite is up for both players. 410 picked up, nicely done Renova. I didn't even see the health bar drop below 460, so nicely done. Times it with the auto attack. Grabs top Scuttle, and Acadian wastes a few seconds trying to make that happen.
Yeah, smart stuff from Rainover, just kind of ushering that Scuttle away from Acadian as he is training it down. He's just making sure to stay on the bottom side to push it up towards that top side of the river, and there is that play I'm talking about. Just dashing in, proc the Grasp, proc the Vital, that's what you're trying to do. But even with this kind of advantageous matchup, again, as I said, Aatrox can push you in early. Aatrox can have a laning advantage in those early phases, and you know, if Fiora gets behind, it can be tough.
And there's that riposte we expected, so of course not a lot of damage if you don't follow it up with an auto attack, but at least finds a stun, maybe get a little bit back there as Farm traded back and forth. Yeah, we can see who he spots. That Acadian's taking the Raptors away, but can't stop him. A nice steal. Leaves one chicken back to keep that camp from respawning as they keep seeing Ghost Poros come down for those who do have the domination tree. We're never looking for the stuff on this side of the map, and we'll find Krugs at the end of the day.
And potentially be able to try to set up a dive, right? You know,
yeah.
You get up there on the top side of the map, you are a double buff champion up here, and you have Aatrox, which really can be very powerful in these early phases. So Darshan, that Deathbringer stance.
Late on the repose, going to pull him forward, but not get him back with the W.
But he has no parry now, so you can actually go for the dive. That parry being on cooldown, Rainover should honestly just get over there. Forget about doing the rest.
I think they want to shove the wave in so they don't take aggro walking towards the champion. So I think they need to finish the wave shove. So if Doku can keep his wave actually in front of his turret, hard diving double melee without anything taking is so hard.
Yeah, it is tough, but at the same time, they're now giving him time for the riposte to come back up as well.
Yep.
So I think it's possible they've missed their window, but they're going to go
the attempt,
for it.
though. Level 4, 400 HP. Doku's got to find a way to outplay this one. He's got the very early riposte on the side, finds a slow, and burns the teleport out. And the threat of the reprieve is going to be enough. But yeah, maybe waiting for that riposte coming back up could have been too much. A TP started, then canceled. Pee-wee keeps his teammate alive.
It's tough, right? It's hard to know what is the right decision to make in that moment. But you know, generally, I feel that if you are trying to go for early dives against the Fiora, it's all about riposte. Similar with Jax, it's all about the counter-strike. That defensive tool is really what they have to keep them alive. And you know, the canceled TP coming out from Power of Evil is something, especially when you have to remember it's 60 seconds additional even on that cancel. So you know, he's not going to have that to come back for lane, and that does hurt his lane a decent amount.
All right, well, it sounds like we do have a silent report with Avli, who spoke with someone on the team to talk about this game.
Thanks, guys. Zabutin said that OpTic's morale and everyone on the team is pretty happy after their 2-0 from last week. He says that they're pretty confident in the draft that they have right now and that they've been working on it all week. He said that Huhi is going to have some trouble against PoE's new Ari because he's going to bring that pick back into the meta. Back to you guys. Well,
very cool stuff, and they should be confident coming off of a very strong week. You know, and the confidence I think is shown also in these picks, right? The fact that they're willing to take Fiora into this Aatrox, leaving it up, and also going with this Ari. Going to be very powerful picks if played very well. And you know, it's kind of funny because while there is champions like Aatrox that are considered, you know, must ban, a lot of times that results in pros not practicing it. Because it's so powerful, they're like, well, no one's ever going to let me play it, so why would I waste my time putting in practice games? So when you do then leave it up, you are expecting that Dokla has spent time this week scrimming this exact matchup, right? You know, perfecting this exact matchup. And meanwhile, for Darshan, there's a chance he didn't play a single game of it this whole week, and a very high chance he has not played this matchup this week. So, you know, that does kind of go in the favor of the team that has pre-prepared this strategy and you know, set up for it.
I will always respect teams who are willing to say, hey, everyone else believes this, but we think we have the answer and are willing to make that risk. I do love that. I think especially if you are on the outside like OpTic are, it's even more reason to do that because you need to shake something up a little bit. I'm not going to post that one just yet, but Dokla is going to go for this. Finds a slow, but not quite the rest of it here. so far holding equal in lane. And again, the concern was Aatrox's laning phase is unbeatable, and so far holding up despite even getting ganked once is Dokla. Of course, the power to get shifted. Darshan's late game power is going to be a bit higher. His laning phase, of course, a bit weaker across the 8-14 changes, but so far bodes reasonably well against a champion that quote-unquote must be banned or you lose the game.
Yeah, and I think that Fiora certainly is going to have the scaling advantage there. These fights should just look better and better for Fiora as time goes on, and OpTic certainly are going to want to try to play around that, try to get Dokla his advantages, at least protect him in that side lane, make sure that he can't get dove, can't get ganked. Because if you do get put behind, it's going to be rough to actually try to be forced into joining those team fights. That's one of the reasons that people really have been kind of avoiding the split push, is Darshan still getting a very nice trade with hitting sweet spot on 2 Qs and Deathbringer stance. And
yeah.
When you have that Deathbringer stance up, not only are you getting the bonus damage, but you're also getting the actual Grievous Wounds application, which is pretty big. But Acadian is in the area. They have a pink ward in the river, though. Power of Evil roaming up. They're trying to look to make a 3-man play.
They're going for a 3 versus 2. Trundle's right around the corner, sitting on, I think, a Blast Cone, waiting to join the team. Now, Blast Cone, yeah, is up. And that dive's not really going to happen. Dokla getting incredibly injured, though. His health bar, you can see how small it is in the top right corner. He's going to face check an Acadian. That red smite in. Pretty good bit of damage. Tower dive will he be gone for? Looks for a bit of damage. No knockups just yet, though. Pulling aggro. Dokla just walks away from that one. Darshan only at half, of course, does have the ultimate. Will they commit for the dive right now? Again, a 400 health Fiora, not that hard to kill in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it becomes all about the parry. The fact that Acadian comes over, though, does protect him, and that's very big, allowing him to stay around and actually collect this wave, get the experience, get the gold, but now they're going to try to go.
And again for round number 2, will he riposte a stun? Goes for a bit of a slow right now, trying to cut away, gets out of that one to the flash and chase down on Trundle. The team's coming around there. They're going to force the revive out of this, and they're still cutting away as first blood comes through in the dive. As the team joins in, Darshan, he's going to be falling down for this one. The pickup is there. A 2 for 0, turning around the tower dive.
Very nicely done there. Dokla with the outplay, able to actually completely dodge the second Q, flash out of the third Q there from Aatrox, avoiding so much of the damage, and that is one of the reasons this can be a good matchup. You're so evasive, it's so difficult for Darshan to actually set up those sweet spots to land on the champion, and here it is one more time, goes straight in, parry fairly early on, and then Q over to the other side. The ultimate is popped. Watch the sidestep there on the second Q, the flash out of the third Q, avoiding so much of that damage, and it looked like Power of Evil had actually hit a charm there on Darshan, so there's no way for him to actually reposition that third Q either. Really great response from PoE, and very well played by Dokla to survive.
And that ends CLG's 100% first blood rate as well, and it had been mostly in that top side of the map, and they tried yet again for most of their games, and this time around finally answered properly. That maybe TP stat could have helped, of course. PoE got in there because of that teleport in the mid lane, and was able to turn that one around. We look closely at the bottom lane really briefly. We can see a small farm lead to Arrow. Again, summon a teleport, kind of expect that'll happen for you. Longer cooldown or not, use the first one to come in for a pickaxe, it seems, and holding on to +7 CS.
Yeah, doing fairly well on the bottom side of the map, and credit to PoE. Farm is obviously very even in the middle lane, but PoE did not get to actually TP back to lane. He used his first TP to actually stop that dive from happening, canceled that, then had the TP back up off of that cooldown, off that half cooldown to actually respond and turn around a couple kills. So PoE having another strong game for himself. Acadian has kind of been in the right place at the right time, and things looking fairly even, but you're always going to be worried about that top side of the map now that some additional gold has gone into the pocket of Dokla, and expecting him to outscale, has a red buff on him, picked up first blood.
Riposte, yeah, just ruins everything that W would have done. Gets away from the third, second, okay, yeah, not even a single stun. Dokla, now you can start to see that camp go a little bit better. Of course, the kill and assist gives him some gold. PoE here for the dive. Ulti up in about 3 seconds. Darshan will not go down.
Yeah, but it's a nice threat from PoE. It's going to force Darshan to at least miss a couple minions. You see he's just actually going back to base because he is fairly low and knew the potential of a dive was coming out. We'll be able to walk back to the turret now, kind of knowing that PoE is back in the mid lane and that Rainover is up here protecting him once again. But certainly things starting to look better and better on the top side of the map for OpTic.
Absolutely, and that was kind of the plan. Find a counterpick that works into Aatrox, and a lot of pressure from both teams up there to try to tilt that matchup across either way. OpTic came out the better right now. A little bit of an ill-fated dive on CLG's side. Dokla grabs some fruit, walks back over to his lane.
And pressure for both sides for sure. It's one of those things, though, where because OpTic has the advantageous matchup and the scaling advantage, all they have to do is make sure that nothing goes awry, right? They don't have to actually proactively make ganks happen on Darshan because Dokla is just kind of passively going to win, right? And that makes the job for CLG a lot harder. That's why they were the ones trying to force those dives. That's why they were the ones that were trying to be super proactive up there to really kind of shift that in Darshan's favor before the natural scaling and kind of advantages come through for Dokla, because once Fiora has CDR and gets that Black Cleaver, it just gets so damn hard because the Q cooldown is so low, and you can so easily avoid those Q sweet spots coming out from Aatrox.
Sure, and to Darshan's credit for the very early game, though, he is up a couple of waves of farm right now. He has done a better job last hitting, landed a lot of those poke Qs and not been traded back, but yeah, the gold still plus about 400 for Dokla. The kill's obviously a part of that. And now looking a little bit more as we watch that bot lane play through. Mountain Drake was picked up, nicely done, as Acadian plus the bot lane pressure has gone well for them. This 2-on-2 down here has been shoving kind of the entire time. 6am Balfrost has been very, very good all split. Arrow and Big have had their misgivings, but right now, advantage in the 2-on-2, that's got to feel pretty good.
Certainly does, and they will be able to actually be rewarded with this turret as Acadian comes down, but it's going to be CLG again on the top side of the map.
Yep.
Trying to force a response, trying to push down this turret. Dokla has played fairly safe, but there's okay, just going to channel in his face.
He can't stun him. He's not getting CC'd, so it's going to be a slam right in melee range. It's going to be very close to knocking the turret down. It actually won't quite kill it. Actual TP from Arrow managed to shoot that thing down just in time. Of course, still a very injured thing, as Arrow has rotated from knocking down that first turret bot lane. Already pushing up top, and Stixay is nowhere near him. He actually started walking. You can see the minimap. He walked towards bot lane, turned around at the inhibitor turret, and is now going to be late to joining that matchup as the wave crashes in the turret, and a wave of farm gets lost to CLG.
Yeah, so OpTic going to have the advantage up on that top side, making a fast rotation as well, but Big is not out on the map just yet, and Arrow has to play somewhat back. That's why he's kind of not looking to pressure the turret just yet. Dokla should be going down bottom lane to just match Darshan. They have fairly good vision on the bottom side of the map for now, on the side of OpTic. You know, a couple pink wards down around that dragon area, a couple of deep wards now actually tracking Reignover. As you can see, the pings were going down onto him, and that should help Dokla feel a lot more confident to actually play out that 1v1 a bit more aggressively.
Lots of room to play around. Dokla sitting on a control ward. He's got another one around him. He's already set up with vision, which is pretty nice to have. And now, gonna walk right in and look, Darshan just immediately books it. He's like, no, this is not a matchup. I want to be around without any vision around me.
Yeah.
There could be a Graves behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Darshan has no idea because they have no deep wards on this side of the map. So he's been kind of put onto the losing side. And you can see, as the spectators have shown us, how dark it is for Darshan. It's definitely very scary to be put in a losing matchup on the losing side of the map because your team was under their turrets. They had no opportunity to actually get out there and get you deep vision, which can protect you. So, you know, kind of all the cards are in the hands of Dokla right now, and Graves will reveal himself on the top side of the map. That's going to make Darshan a little bit more confident to go and pick up these waves, but still, Ravenous Hydra now completed for Dokla, and the scaling has begun.
The matchup has ended, probably, in a lot of cases here. Of course, there is Grievous Wounds natively on the kit, so all that Fiora healing that makes dueling so good is going to be cut in half. Darshan will have a little bit of help against that. But yeah, this feels like the time's maybe run out, and that 1v1 gets real scary for poor Aatrox.
But that being said, we'll have to see, can OpTic actually play the map well enough to close out a game with split push, right?
Sure.
So great, you have a side lane advantage, but there is very strong engage from the rest of CLG. You have Biofrost, who's one of the best recon players, if not the best, in the league. He can certainly force engages, and if you're out there in the side lane and all of a sudden your Jhin has gotten engaged on by a recon and died instantly, well, then you're forced to group, right? And when you're forced to group on Fiora, it's very difficult to play with those team fights, so it's going to be up to OpTic to not only have Dokla playing well in that side lane in the 1v1, pressuring turrets, but for the rest of the squad to stay safe, for them to allow Dokla that time he needs.
So you can find it. If OpTic can keep the wards around him, keep that pressure up, and find a way to go into the turrets. Nice little trip right there, gets away from most of the Qs. Doesn't repulse this one, though. He's still waiting for the rest of the team to come around. Ulti now popping. Dokla's got to hightail it. Trundle's coming around as well. He's got to be respectful of this. Pillar comes down. Now the TPs to rejoin the fray. A quick slow down while they wait for the revive. Yui's going to charm him. Wait for the ulti to time out. Now with an ult and Q, he can kill him. The flash whip, and he's going to have that chase, no problem. There's the kill underneath the turret, the 2-for-1 blow. And now Reignover running low in HP. Here comes the charm. Nice knock up right there. Does he still have the tools, though? gets for some damage, can't quite pick it up, and CLG gets that trade. A 1-for-1 in the flash forward. Pee-wee's got to go down for this one. The ulti is out of charges now. Shockwave pulls him in. CLG wins that one as top turret goes down.
They do get the 2 kills for 1, but it's a turret trade on the top side of the map, so, you know, you will take that 1 kill loss for OpTic to actually trade for a turret most of the time, and, you know, the play is still going fairly well for them overall. Power of Evil playing very intelligently around the ult expiring, waiting for that revive to be gone, timing that out, getting the kill. That is really one of the best examples I've seen around playing around that ultimate and how it does expire. Dokla feeling confident in this 1v1, is kind of fighting up here against Darshan. Rainover shows up, it's time to retreat, but then as Power of Evil comes in, he can go fully forward, and you can see that ultimate timer, that is the white bar if you are not actually familiar. He holds him still with the charm, right as it expires, Darshan flashing away, but there's no escape from Nari, who has all 3 charges of that ultimate. Still though, good job from Biofrost and Hui on the roam to be able to pick up a couple kills, and Rainover barely surviving.
And just the chase down right there. Knows he's out of dashes, out of flashes. Okay, QR's for sure the kill. Hui gets that one right. And a good pickup. This game, 2.5 thousand ahead though for OpTic. They have managed to outmaneuver the map so far. 2 turrets to 0. And that one Mountain Drake, of course, helping further that scoreline. They put Dokla back on the top side now, has TP up, can play for that bottom side Drake, spawning in plenty. So far, OpTic definitely on the ball.
Yep, definitely are. Biofrost, though, didn't have to expend his flash. Does have flash ultimate up here very shortly. Hui is becoming quite strong on the Orianna, picked up a couple kills. He has his double spell penetration plus Luton's rank 2 of the ultimate. This is a very strong point in the game for the Orianna. And you have that ball delivery service, so if they can combo that onto really a lot of these squishy members, you catch anyone besides Big with that combo, they are very likely going to die. And that is what OpTic is going to have to play around, what they're going to have to show respect to, and that is why there is such a priority for them on getting vision, on seeing where Biofrost could be, where he can engage from, so they can anticipate and kind of proactively respond to that.
Cloud actually fitting the sort of map play style pretty well right here. OpTic with a kite around and maybe rotate down or get Dokla out of scary fights here. This could be quite nice for them. Next Drake Infernal, pretty good as well. Right now, he's not pressuring the turret. He's recalled back and bought himself that Phage going towards the cleaver you had mentioned from earlier.
Yeah.
Cooldown reduction, a very big stat for Fiora.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, oof. Sadly missing that last hit. Gets that one to the W auto. But kind of collecting his farm. He's letting this freeze, which I think is a very good choice. He's not playing for anything on the map right now, but he is right now actively denying golden XP from Fiora from that lane. So she goes other side of the map.
Once Fiora shows up, though, I think we're going to see him start pushing because then it's time to actually get pressure, and there it is.
Yep.
Intelligent response here from Darshan. Because you can't just give up pressure on all sides of the map. You can't be under your own turret while Fiora is pushing bot and they're pushing mid. You need to shove up that wave and then be able to roam and do something elsewhere or get a buy timing, as he's going to be likely finally going to finish up that Black Cleaver. As it's a pretty late timing for him, but you know, things did not really go his way in lane.
Yeah. I want to point out Power of Evil going for a slightly unorthodox build. I've seen this one before on Ahri, but going for the early proto belt on Ahri has now sort of a lot of sort of active damage, Luden's Echo triggers, and that triggers as well. So it's like insane wave clear and a lot of ability in team fights.
Yeah, I think the wave clear is a really good thing to point out that you mentioned, because Luden's plus that proto belt is insane as far as you can just basically instantly kill a wave. 1 Q, you proto belt, the Luden's procs, the whole wave is just dead. And when they're playing this 4 TP style, it's about map control. It's about moving around the map and manipulating minion waves, and that is going to help him to be able to do that much better. You also talked a bit about how they don't have necessarily the safest wave there. Well, that's something to help shore up that weakness and is very powerful as far as the playmaking and the burst potential there. So I think good choices here from Power of Evil. You know, he is known for kind of the crazy builds.
Yeah,
this one
some of them
makes
bad.
much more sense than the Syndra race car build, perhaps.
Yeah,
that he
the
did
Syndra race car a bit, we'll call it unlucky.
Yeah, the Syndra race car with no celerity was questionable, but this one I'm definitely liking.
Absolutely. So ball comes down. Hui trading for vision control, knocks down that. Their control would staying alive as OpTic actually having to kind of run away from this one for now. But Fiora, keep in mind, is pushing in the bottom side of the map, and no one is here at all. CLG kind of collapsing around what could have been a potential Baron bait or something, and Dokla just getting 800 damage off this turret by himself.
Yeah, knocks about half that health off of it. We could actually see Dokla go into, you know, a different choice, and maybe not that Black Cleaver and straight up Triforce, as they're looking for a fight on a Biofrost, but
now W's out. Now the Jin ulti is on, gets a shield, kites away, and now it's going to be body blocked out by Hui, so stay alive, but that was going to be dangerous, actually. Got over to the wings. Could have been edged out there, but didn't.
And Dokla, is pushing very heavily on the bottom side of the map, kind of pressuring this turret, but OpTic also have full vision control around the Baron. Biofrost was trying to fight back for that, trying to get some of that vision back for CLG, but they were not kind of grouped up as a squad. It was not Rainover and Biofrost walking in, it was just Biofrost. Now it is just Rainover, so you're more susceptible to kind of being jumped on and picked off. We'll see if CLG can find an opportunity to actually get in there and retake some of the vision.
Yeah.
OpTic has recalled, but they don't know that just yet, and that is why Rainover is playing this fairly safely.
They burned a long trinket golden just there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they don't know, right? OpTic was not even thinking about the Baron at this moment, but that just goes to show the power of that vision control, and that is their only kind of blue orb that was available, and that is now expended.
CLG in somewhat of a lose-lose situation. Resets come through. You can see a solid 9 or 7 control wards for OpTic, about 8 for CLG on the other side of the map. So they are, of course, ready to keep playing over this vision. That's going to be the 2 pressure points, basically, is that top river and this bottom lane. Dokla did take some damage there for Darshan. Has to respect him a little bit. I feel like he wants Krugs up to lifesteal off, but they're not here right now. So has to kind of give away some time. CS difference only 10 right now, so that's petered out a little bit.
Yeah, and Darshan has good wave clear with those Qs, right? So he can kind of play defensively, and Dokla's not at the point where he can fight Darshan plus a turret, and that's going to be quite a while before he can really kind of look to do those super crazy plays. But he has to be respectful, as you said. He has taken quite a bit of Q poke from Darshan. He has also taken a number of turret shots as he was kind of dashing forward and trying to get some damage down. So Darshan certainly can turn that around, but as the wave pushes out, he can lifesteal back up here, and will be able to kind of clear this out fairly quickly himself.
All right, walking forward, wave in tow. Darshan, I like this actually, grabbing red buff real quick. It's a ton of health regen at this level in the game. This is actually going to be almost impossible to push Darshan out of the... Oh, 2 HP! Oh, they misjudged the damage. That's unlucky.
Darshan didn't misjudge that. He had it all calculated.
Like, I'm going to bait you on this one. And now, again, Dokla, I don't think actually is going to have an easy way of poking him out of lane because there's just so much lifesteal. But now, Darshan's got to be careful. Nearsighted, almost stunned, but not quite coming through.
That's actually just the perfect play from Darshan. Not only does he get points for being a good teammate and leashing that for his... He still gets the red buff.
He gets the red buff.
That's a win-win.
That is a win-win. Darshan.
Playing the AD carry.
My favorite kind of player. That's perfect. All right. True gamer. He deserves this win, even if his team loses, and it's not his fault. All right. Well, my MVP is Darshan. We'll see what comes.
He's also your president.
He is also my president. That is true. I didn't vote for him, but I accept it all the same. I didn't get a vote. I'm not an LCS player. Still, the bottom lane split push and the top side Baron control, the 2 points of the map that we care about right now. And CLG, once again, nearsighted both by Graves and the lack of vision here. Even a Ghost Pour helps make sure that OpTic knows what's going on. Once again, able to just kind of run back, go for the quick map control. Infernal Drake up in 15 seconds, so as long as there's no sneaky Baron grabs by CLG or sneaks, to reuse the word, it's going to be pretty easy. Drake pick up here as OpTic reset one last time. Dokla still pushing the bottom bit. And, yeah, okay. He's fine, though.
Yep, definitely fine. Q was on cooldown there, the Darkened Blade. As Acadian will be able to go and start this up, it should be an easy drag for OpTic. CLG really not any vision over on this side of the map, and they can't really look to contest this. They have been kind of building up their own defensive vision, trying to move that closer to the Baron pit, so they at least have these pockets of safety. You can see around their blue buff and wolf area, where they can move from there forward to try to check on the Baron at least. But OpTic is playing this out very patiently. I mean, this is going to be a slow style of gameplay because you're split pushing. That's what you've opted.
The only ones fighting at the top lane. It's 9,000 damage apiece. The other one's kind of posturing for position. So exactly what that graph's supposed to tell us. Of course, those guys are battling.
And
but
it is going to be Triforce actually for Dokla. So he goes back. He had a lot of gold saved up there, and he will just finish that Triforce straight up. This is better, I would say, in that actual split push style. Not only are you getting the additional attack speed and kind of damaging stats there, but the Sheen proc is very, very big for when you do actually get on the turrets. So, having that Triforce proc, you can help to knock down those turrets very, very quickly with the additional attack speed and that bonus to damage.
So here comes the push. This is the big power spike, of course, coming in, because Darshan, I think, already had most of these items. He's picked up a Jarm's Fist, but I think he already had Black Cleaver coming in. But yeah, Triforce from Phage is a pretty big power spike, almost 3,000 gold worth. And Dokla, I think, is going to be in a really good spot here. We'll watch that matchup pretty soon. But mid lane being pushed by CLG. The play for Infernal Drake did give the blue team some time to play for that top river. They got a bit of that back. You can see a couple of shots towards the turret, but the wave clear, good enough. CLG not getting a lot of purchase here.
Yeah, Graves able to help out with that quite a bit. They do still have a couple of those TPs available. Big has his spellbook ready. You can see TP available on Dokla as well as PoE. Dokla playing this pretty close to the chest though, kind of backing off because he didn't have a lot of vision on where those mid laners had kind of gone. You could see that Biofrost was up around the mid lane and then kind of just dipped down into fog. So Dokla's just still waiting in the brush, not showing himself until he knows where Darshan is, until he knows where somewhere else is. And kind of seeing that vision plant be popped gives him an idea that someone is up there. And he is safe to at least perform wave.
Sheds that one in. Darshan once again in view. 1Q using now a split on the top side. Pillar comes down. PoE could burn ulti. Doesn't want to choose to do that though, and doesn't have to burn anything. And now look at that. Yeah, under the turret, pops the ulti. Full HP, has to flash over the wall. That is what the matchup looks like at 2 items. And now, who he pushed out.
Oh.
Nice stopwatch, getting away from what would have been a death from collateral damage. But Dokla, yeah, pretty much one-shot him under the turret, takes some damage. That's going to be a turret falling. Split push working now for OpTic.
Yeah, this is where it can start to get pretty ugly when you get to that 2-item point. I mean, he just straight up shoved him off the turret. He gets his flash, he gets his ult for just the ult from Dokla. And Dokla could look to actually kill Darshan here if he's not careful because he still has his flash available, but he knocks down the tier 2. Going to look to just play this out very patiently.
Yeah.
Only gets worse for Darshan.
Bird does flash in time right before the sun would have come down because if he gets done in front of the wall, he's probably dead.
OpTic is just playing a great game. I mean, this is a
are.
very controlled game. They have not once gotten picked off by Biofrost, you know, with their 4-man squad. And on the bottom side, they are winning.
Okay, knock-up 2v1. This could be the re-engage CLG might need. Can they keep in range? No, she's just too quick. Passive move speed on Triforce, gets right back out.
Yeah, and they have no vision on Baron, right? So for all they know, OpTic, if you chase too far, we'll just go straight on the Baron and burn that down. And Dokla still had his flash, so even if you commit to it, likely could just flash out of there. And he's just going to lifesteal back up. Here it is one more time. Darshan stepping up. You Q inside the first. Just continues to chase. Darshan's in full retreat. When you have those vital procs and the Sheen proc from that Triforce coming down, he's just getting absolutely blasted. There's no way you can actually retaliate and fight back in that 1v1.
Yeah, so well played right here, and that split push just getting farther and farther ahead. 5,500 gold lead now for OpTic, 4-0 in turrets. They've only given up 2 kills, and I believe a Rift Herald all game.
I really do like this this build path, grabbing another Vamp Scepter, going to be likely going towards a Bloodthirster, perhaps Death Dance, but getting that additional lifesteal can make it so damn hard. It gets to the point where you can basically ignore the turret because you're healing so much with Grasp and Vitals and all the lifesteal in your kit.
CLG, they go to the front line, but a big knock up in the front. They're going to try to knock this guy down. Now, how good the shot's going to be? Holding the last bullet. No damage to Huhi right here. Could there be a collapse? No, they actually pulled Aatrox up, which means Dokla again free time, and he's never going to join the team. He's going to split push to the bottom lane.
Exactly. As long as they can survive those potential engages and wave clear, it's going to be looking very, very good for OpTic. They're now onto the Baron. Dokla is on this inhibitor turret as well. CLG doesn't have vision. This is so difficult to actually navigate for them at this point.
All right, damage coming through. Fiora on the inhibitor turret. Aatrox holding alongside it. A charm onto Toronto to keep him out of the fight. He cannot possibly steal. More damage coming through. He is out of that one. He is going to pick this one up. Nicely done. OpTic Gaming pick up a clean Baron on a 5-kill game. They have completely outmaneuvered CLG.
Yeah, they are just in full control. This is one of the best macro displays we've seen this split here. OpTic looking so damn good, and it just gets worse and worse and worse for Darshan in this 1v1. You know, the strongest point in the game probably for this Aatrox is now, and he can't even come close to actually contesting that. So it's definitely going to be a tough one from here on out, but CLG is going to have to depend on Biofrost. It's really all about him. He must find the engage, sync up with who you know, now having that death cap. If they find that perfect engage, everything still can fall apart for OpTic.
So that's the kind of condition. That's what you look for. Biofrost, who starting the big team fight, that is the way back in. Otherwise, it has been control for OpTic. And I want to, as we kind of have a lull in this game, spend a little bit of time talking about how that Fiora versus Aatrox matchup played out. Because, of course, we saw an early farm lead for Darshan and a botched dive that was a 2-for-0 on OpTic's side. And I can see the comments online being, oh, well, of course he's going to win. He got a free kill. But if all it takes to win the game is you get 1 kill, that's a great matchup. I'll take that matchup every game. If I ever get a kill, I win the game. That's perfect. That's what you're looking for in the first place. And so that seems like a really good sign where OpTic and Dokla, who had a really hard time finding wins, beating, I mean, one of the best teams in the league in CLG.
Yeah, and I would say you don't even need that kill. What is kind of often goes kind of uncredited, I feel like, in these split push style games, is how well the 4-man squad of OpTic has to play to give this much time for Odokla. Because I would argue you don't even need a single kill on the Fiora for the game to look like this. You just need time. Because you outscale in that 1v1 so heavily that there's nothing Darshan can do at a certain point, right? And it's just up to the rest of your team to not get engaged on, to not fall behind, to control vision, and that is really one of the most difficult parts. So Dokla picks a strong matchup, plays it well, but the rest of OpTic are really kind of the quiet heroes here, just by simply never being too over-aggressive, never getting caught.
And they played it defensively. They said, okay, you're going to grab Aatrox. We know that for sure. We're going to go ahead and 1-2 the Jhin Graves, I believe it was. Cool, we've got kind of safe marksman backline, half-decent wave clear. Cool, we'll fit the rest of the comp. We'll find our counterpicks elsewhere. We know we're taking Fiora on 3. Bot lane inhibitor already dead. Mid under fire pretty heavily now as well as the tier 2 turret is gone. And Dokla kind of testing with the Nexus turrets now as well. And here's the CLG engage. They have found that kill onto Big. That was kind of the mark that they were looking for. Acadian pushed back as well. But Arrow finds the shot to get the trade as Ezreal is dead. Stixxay has fallen. The shockwave lands though, and Arrow shooting the wrong way. CLG get at least something on the board. A 2-for-1 team fight.
Yeah, I mean, OpTic, they chose that fight. They decided to actually go for that. They do end up losing a couple of kills, but still it is the turret traded at the very least. Nice Power of Evil should be able to get out, no problem.
That's his third ult, though. That's a little dangerous. He finds the slow, but no re-engage.
Yeah, either way, it's still okay because they are so ahead, but you know, it's kind of giving them credit for being so patient. And your win condition is Fiora in the side lane killing turrets, right? You don't actually need to engage and look for those fights, as CLG is still strong enough. They still have the champions to engage and to turn around and get some of these kills. And here it is one more time. So they're the ones kind of going forward and looking for this, but that is not giving the respect to Huhi and Biofrost. Biofrost goes in, finds Big. They're able to burst him down, and then Acadian has to go back. And this is the Acer Predator replay here. As OpTic do lose Arrow as well, and not able to kind of flash that. QSS coming out, not really doing much, but OpTic really kind of their first misstep, I would say, as this 4-man squad. Well, 3-man squad in this case. They choose a fight that they really should not have taken. You can continue to play that out patiently, and probably PoE then kills the inhibitor top.
Yeah, and of course he did get that turret, but you're having to back off because of the loss of pressure from his teammates being dead. Maybe could have picked up a little bit more. All the same, a great Baron power play. 5,000 is a very large mark. That is, I'm pretty sure, significantly above average kind of worldwide for Baron power plays. So yeah, OpTic just continuing to strangle CLG out of this game. The hopeful team fight of the Rakan Orianna engage is still the prayer here for CLG's side. They gotta have faith that it'll happen. Biofrost still does have flash, so the chance of a big play can still be there, but they're just running out of map to play with.
Yeah, and a couple GAs also purchased up here for OpTic. They know it may result in one big fight coming down in these kind of final moments, and they're going to have, you know, an additional 2 lives essentially for that final fight with Acadian and Dokla both having their GA completed. Dokla did grab the Vamp, but then actually decided to go back for that GA. Has enough power in the 1v1 already. They're still split pushing. You have to give up mid when you are going to go for both of your soul laners out there, but Power of Evil is going to be pressuring these inhibitor turrets, or the Nexus turrets rather, and Dokla is up here. He's going to be quickly on the inhibitor. He needs to be careful he doesn't get collapsed on. The rest of OpTic is coming.
They're kind of aware because of Jhin right here, so Pillar could come down, but Rainover doesn't have enough backup. Biofrost nearby, but no damage backup, so that's not going to happen. Bot lane pushed in, Nexus turret at half, top lane pushed in as well, and they're waiting for the wave in mid right now as Stixxay wave clears top.
The push and pull has been very good from OpTic. As soon as the rest of CLG is coming down to actually collapse, the 3-man squad in the mid lane are already pushing. PoE is already pushing. Dokla is backing off. And wherever CLG attacks, that side of OpTic should retreat and the rest should go forward. And that is essentially how they're trying to play this out. CLG, though, still, the onus is on them. They need to find these engages, but OpTic is never really presenting one, as they're just pushing across the map.
Not just wave clearing is CLG. Baron now in 1 minute. Looks like OpTic have been playing patient all half an hour so far this game. They're probably going to stay patient and play for that Baron up in 1 minute and ensure the vision is all theirs. Right now, though, there are some CLG wards in that river. They might have to play around. PoE playing far enough back. Still has flash, has ult. He can kind of play with a lot of disrespect right now because he knows he can get back out.
And They're just kind of corralling CLG on all sides, and as you said, Baron going to be coming up fairly soon, and they're going to have no vision in the area.
The
But
play of Dokla coming up forward does get charmed up. No riposte here. He's going to lose Guardian Angel right off the bat. Does OpTic even keep playing this one, or they give away their top laner at the worst possible time? Dokla is not going to find the trade kill. A great pickup there as the split push comes through, but CLG get that opening, and he is dead during Baron being alive. A 25-second window of a CLG power play with a Baron on the map.
yeah, pretty big mistake from Dokla. I mean, Acadian was back actually getting vision around the Baron. PoE was not with him. Like, they didn't have enough pressure really out on the map. Nothing was kind of happening in the mid lane so that they could actually trade a kill or a turret for that. So he does go down, he loses his GA. CLG will finally get back out onto the map, and you have to think they go straight for the Baron.
It has to be the play. I think you don't win the game if you're not willing to take a 5v4
OpTic's
risk.
going to try to actually go for some sort of a base race here. 3 men down on the bottom side, so it looks like they will be sacrificing Baron. Decisions can get pretty difficult at this stage in the game. It's not that much damage.
They're on Herald. They're leaving Acadian to try to steal as the rest of the team now comes around. Bottom Hammer going to die once again. Stixxay is recalled to defend as well. So a 3 versus 2 push in the bottom side, and it's now a recall out as, yeah, CLG kind of unwilling to make the Baron play happen. So once again, OpTic out navigating in a 4v5, put the resource in the right spot, and they have stopped the Baron while still getting the inhibitor and a Nexus turret.
Yeah, it's just very smart stuff. They can't actually contest in the straight-up team fight, but they can pressure the base, and that makes it very difficult for CLG to actually commit to that. They didn't have enough damage to even burst down that Baron very quickly. It was essentially only the Orianna as a damage dealer, so would have taken far too long, and OpTic makes a mistake on Dokla, but the rest of the team actually covers for him very well.
Kites back out, stays alive, the second death of his game. CLG actually up in kills, interestingly enough, but not a lot of gold work. They're going to try once again, though, as the waves get pushed out. They kind of sense the reset out of OpTic, and indeed, they have some alone time right now. Jungler not close in range at all, so Acadian, does he want to even face check Brush right now? They don't know what's coming around. Jin ult will spot, and he will be in range for a smite, but I think CLG should go for 50-50. It's better than their odds of winning the game as it plays out normally. It's all about the smite fight right now. Jumping forward, 100 health, but it's picked up by Rainover, and they pop the Guardian Angel out of Acadian, flash down. Redemption buys some health. CLG walk away with the all-important objective picked up.
Yeah, very well done there by CLG. That was an important one, and I tend to agree, even if that is a risky Baron play, if you play this out slowly, OpTic will get pressure, they will get the Baron, and they will end the game. So taking those risky plays, sometimes better than your odds otherwise, and Dokla out on the map once again, going to be working towards that Bloodthirster that we do have the answer there as he's picked up another BF sword, and is this going to be back to business as usual? But CLG have bought themselves some more time using these Baron minions to help defend and also to enable their push.
Oh, they're going to fight right here, looking back and forth, waiting for what could be a hard engage. Biofrost has flash, but no ult, so probably not.
But when that ult is back up, they have the Baron buff. If they get a big pick and they get that kill, they could march down and end the game.
It is not far away from this being up. Elder Dragon is alive, and it's a 5-stack for OpTic right now, but that Rakan ult was only 10 seconds away, so will that be the fight? There's no Fiora, of course, just in the bot lane up against Aatrox. It's a recall out from Ezreal, which means no, that's not going to be played as yet. OpTic actually sending PoE down to the bot side now as well.
Yeah, and it's going to be OpTic just kind of trying to create this pressure and then pull back to the Elder, who he did expend his Shockwave, which is actually so big at this point in the game because they need that for the follow-up from Biofrost. Should be OpTic's Dragon. That will be a huge one.
That is really big. So nice pickup there. OpTic does get superpowers now themselves to pretty closely match what CLG have on their side of the map. You mentioned scaling and buying time a second ago. Stixxay is stacking up his double-tier Ezreal. He's gone back to that build, the slower build, the scaling build. But Archangel Staff is so very nearly Seraph's Embrace. 2 spell casts to make it 3.
Yeah.
And he gets that next item spike. Blade of the Ruin King just picked up now as well. So the other members, though the Aatrox Fiora matchup is not going well and is going to continue to suffer, the other members are picking up more items. You've got 4 completed now on Huhi. Death Cap, a huge deal there. The 4 item spike done for Stixxay as well.
Yeah, especially in combination with the Baron buff. I mean, Hugi's nearly at 800 AP. That is massive as Power of Evil finds Biofrost.
For a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That's only 1 ult charge used, so you can see the kind of threat he's got.
It doesn't have a Void Staff or anything to punch through that MR that has been purchased up, so Biofrost does stay alive for now, but Bloodthirster done for Dokla. He has kind of reached his ascended form, truly late game Fiora now, has the Elder Dragon, has the Bloodthirster. No one can contest him 1v1 whatsoever. And he's going to kind of just shove up here. The mid lane squad pushing up there. PoE staying on the bottom side. They're, again, trying to pull CLG apart. And CLG must play it defensively, must not get picked off in the 1v1s, and then have to choose their moment, decisively engage, get a kill, take objectives. That is the way you win.
Okay, so Minions fall, mid lane pushed away. Baron times out in 30. The Elder Dragon will last a little bit longer than that. I'm curious to see if OpTic wants to fight buff versus buff or have a smaller window of having the Elder against nothing on CLG's side. Time, I feel like, though, does favor the blue team here as they were the ones in the back foot, but get to wait for their inhibitors to respawn, their items to stack up, and for this 11,000 gold lead to shrink in impact as the waves are cleared. Dokla's top side inhibitor at half HP might have to respect Huhi, but no shotgun comes out, no riposte has to be burned. Bot lane shoved, another mid lane, another top lane coming in now.
Yeah, PoE, you know, with this much AP, he gets a couple autos on that turret, and it's actually just going to straight up die, so Darshan has to kind of tank up these minions and aggressively wave clear. Really cannot afford to give PoE an access.
Maybe the play as they pop the Jhin ulti, but the shield's on, makes Rainover quite safe, and they don't really get much onto Akaadian either. Heals back up, now going for that turret. Look at the damage up there. They find the shock with the knockup. They found the pick on a Power of Evil. Again, a 5v4. Up they have the kite back in the mid side, but Dokla knocks down top inhibitor. That is a trade of blows. A couple of things picked up, but losing your star mid laner could hurt. Akaadian, does he have a way out as he kites back and forth? And in fact, CLG might have to watch out as this could be a re-engage. Rainover slowed. Do OpTic take a 4v5 team fight? That seems like such a risk right now.
It would be very risky, but they have the minions up there. They have the minions in the base, and I think they will kind of just back off now. CLG have a good engage there. They burst down Power of Evil before he can actually use that Zhonya's, but it is just the one kill, and it allows Dokla to actually get the top lane inhibitor. So as long as it is always a trade for OpTic, they are okay in that situation.
Wow. The gumption, though, playing at 4v5 still. PoE's alive next wave. It's 15 seconds out, and he has teleport. OpTic say, no, we need to stay in their base. We cannot just give them the chance. And of course, the engaged tools were mostly down. There is no flash left for Biofrost. Ulti up soon, though. Huhi's ulti is up as well. But they'll get the reinforcements soon. And
the untold story there of keeping them corralled is that they never get vision, right? So it's so hard to actually leave your base once OpTic finally does reset. And PoE will TP straight down to the bot lane. He will get that pushing. They're pressuring this mid lane inhibitor. Dokla pushing in minions topside.
And Huhi's low on mana. He's sub 400 right now. He actually needs to take a recall at some point to refill his mana pool, or he gets only 1-2 rotations of spells off. That's not enough to win most team fights as the bot lanes get again shoved. Top inhibitor dead, mid and bot under attack right now. Curtain Call comes through, good damage on a Rainover. He actually ults big to gain some stats now. Akaadian's gotta be careful, ults backwards, has GA up still though, and might find the re-engage. Darshan takes a big chunk out of his life bar. Near studded as well, does have ulti though if they need it. Here's the front line, there's a charm in the back line, Shockwave. They only find a Guardian Angel though. Akaadian's gonna stay for this one. They're gonna force the revive out of Darshan as now it's the mid laner trying to get away for this one as one hit hit falls. Second hit drops now as well as minions still flood into the base. PoE though so low on health might not want to stay as OpTic may have to give away some of this control. Not found by Ezreal.
Yeah, Stixxay almost had the 1v1 kill onto Power of Evil, but Power of Evil barely gets out. They lose all 3 inhibitors, so OpTic, well, there's a lot of kind of low health bars there. Akaadian and Power of Evil almost going down, and they committed a lot. They got what they came for. It's triple inhib down. That is 6 super minions spawning per wave. Yeah. They have the split push advantage, and it's going to be so damn hard for CLG. You have to feel like they don't have good enough wave clear to hold on from here.
You have to feel like it's going to be almost impossible. Baron comes up in 45 seconds. That's almost certainly OpTic's next play right now. They are starting to run out of item slots, though. Dokla is capped out, nothing left to buy. Akaadian capped out as well, unless you want to sell Warrior for something else. Middle laner, Power of Evil capped out now. Very little growth left on Arrow, so gold stops mattering, but CLG is getting 1,000 gold per minute, just flooding into their base right now from all the dead inhibitors, from minions flooding in. So the timer is now ticking. If they can win with the Baron buff, then it all works out. You got a 45-minute win over CLG. Congratulations, OpTic. If this Baron push doesn't work, CLG catches up.
Yeah, certainly possible, at least as far as the gold goes, but the map pressure has been so securely in the side of OpTic, and 3-man bot here for CLG. They're looking for Dokla.
Going for this play. Can he knock down Darshan? Of course, pretty good damage. Finds the charm and the knockup as well. Dokla might try to get this kill. It's very, very close, but Darshan has the revive regardless anyway. And Dokla just cannot die as the Baron comes down, so Dokla getting away with absolute murder without that happening to himself as Baron comes down. A nice smite comes through for OpTic.
All 5 members from CLG just went bot side to get on Dokla. He fends off 4 members, stays alive, they get the Baron buff, and OpTic are looking to close this one out.
And here comes the march of the nearly invincible super minions onto the base. CLG have it all to do now. 8 versus 5 on this one. Looking for Power of Evil, kiting away. He might just be caught. Pops the Zhonya's Hourglass. 1 turret's down. On to the Nexus. Even if they die, it's going to be over. CLG will fall. OpTic with a split push win. Take down Aatrox and CLG.
A beautiful performance here from OpTic, showing us a new look for the team. They put that fake into Dokla. You can see how excited they are for him. The game in Dokla's hands there on the Fiora. They leave up the Aatrox, they bait CLG into playing it, and they control the map so well. They control the pace of the game so well.
Yeah.
Never really gave CLG a good way back into that game. I mean, that game ends, the bottom lane tier 1 is still alive for OpTic. All their other tier 2s are still alive for OpTic. CLG could never cross the river, let alone threaten a game-ending play.
Yeah, full court press kind of the entire time. OpTic had to keep the pressure on to make this composition work, but they did do so. Some small missteps, but never enough to give away the game. OpTic in the lead the entire way through. They said, hey, we know you'll take Aatrox. Don't worry, we've practiced all week for this. Our faith is in Dokla. This is his old style of play back when he was brought in from Academy, saying, look, he wants to play the Fioras, the Rivens, this kind of thing. We'll give him the matchup, give him the comfortable champion, play the split push, and leverage that to victory.
Yeah, and it worked very, very well. And for OpTic, that is 3 wins straight. They are feeling confident. They are looking good on stage. CLG, unfortunately, continue their slide. 3 straight losses for the squad after a much stronger start to summer.
Yeah.
Things were looking up for CLG. They have now fallen from 5-3 to 5-6, and the slide continues.
The slide continues, but now upwards for OpTic Gaming, continuing to pick up wins, at least 3 in a row now. To hear more about that win from OpTic, let's send it over to Avli and the victorious Grand To-Do List.
Thanks, guys. Dokla, congratulations on that victory. I want to ask you, it looked like everyone was about to pile on top of you at the end. So what was going through your head?
So, like, I've been in that situation before. I play a lot of Fiora, and then I've been in, like, 1v5 scenarios like that, but my build was just, like, they have no damage to kill me, so I wasn't really scared. Even if they kill me, I have GA, so I'm pretty sure I backed up just to be safe, but I'm pretty sure I could turn it around as well. Yeah.
And OpTic is now on a 3-game win streak. Congratulations on that. But what has the team been doing to honestly pull off all these amazing wins?
Well, I mean, this game wasn't really much of a miracle. I mean, we played pretty bad in execution, but we still won because we had the better draft. But I think it's just good practice, and yeah, just good practice leads to good performances on stage. And I think our drafts have been more solid in the recent weeks, so I'm liking that.
And usually when people talk about OpTic, we just hear PoE in the mid lane, PoE making all these plays. But how does the rest of the team kind of react to that conversation, and how do you guys feel about it?
I think it's a deserved spotlight. PoE is a really consistent mid laner. He never really falls behind. He's always has options to help us. Like, he defended me like top like 3 times or something. It was really good. So even though like I did the 1v5 play, but I think stuff like that is like why PoE is a really good player, and I don't want him out in the spotlight.
Dokla, thank you. And for more on the game, let's hear from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. A 3-game win streak for OpTic Gaming, a 3-game loss streak now for CLG. So 2 very different stories for both of these organizations. OpTic Gaming, let's talk about the draft as put together by the teams, because we saw the Aatrox coming through. And so definite priority shift here in this week with patch 814.
It feels like a lot of people are playing kind of Aatrox chicken, where before it was you just first ban it, everyone knows it's going to get banned red side, but now teams are willing to leave it to a potential 3rd ban, and we saw in the first game of the day that made TSM on blue side actually pick it up and ban it. This time it goes through, it forces the first pick out of CLG, and then you can see that OpTic is prepared for that and has a whole comp ready to go.
Yeah, because it's not just the Fiora into Aatrox. Later in the game, the Fiora could be considered a counter pick, but it's really just a pick you can use so you don't get completely destroyed early game.
Yeah,
we need a name for that, but it's not a counter pick.
If you have any good names, send them our way via Twitter. Maybe we'll consider them. But as well, we saw 4 teleports picked up by OpTic Gaming. Of course, Spellbook for the support on the Braum. But the amount of mobility and map pressure this allowed them to create.
Yeah, and if you take a look at how often these are good TPs too, and this is after the nerf with the 6-minute cooldown, this one gets channeled but canceled out by PoE, so he does that just to protect the Fiora.
And now the dive's gone, so he can reset. And by the way, the time they redive, it's the same person teleporting back in. This time, the dive is a little bit flubbed from some fancy feet from Dokla, but then because they have a 3v2 by the end of it, they can pick up 2 kills. And essentially after this dive, the top lane advantage that Aatrox holds for the first 10 minutes of the game is gone. But by the way, the TPs keep coming back up. They keep trying. They send a Rift Herald to break the turret. That doesn't happen. They collapse the whole team down bottom, but again, a TP matches. This play itself is interesting.
Yeah, this one's really cool because it feels like CLG are finally going to find a pickoff on Dokla. The TP comes in to cancel it, and it forces actually a huge reaction out of CLG. If you take a look at who he is at the time, if he has TP, he can start channeling it and maybe force a disengage, but he doesn't, so he actually needs to not only follow this play, but he has the extra time commitment required to get there, and you can't fake people out. The roam has to happen, so he has to actually run down here, and during this entire time, that means no one's up on the top side, and OpTic, despite losing out on this for a 1-for-2, they still have 3 people up on the top side who were pushing down the turret and still came out ahead in that trade.
Yeah, great usage of the teleport for the squad, but so then here's my question. Even with the nerfs coming through for teleport, why aren't we seeing all teams take teleport across 4 players aside from their jungler?
So this game displayed what can happen when you use teleport well and the lanes that are bringing teleport aren't getting pressured. So it was a barrier Orianna and a heal Ezreal that was trying to go after them. Those are things that allowed OpTic to get by without combat summoners in lane. Theoretically, you pressure those more, or when a team does use the teleport, you're making something happen on the map. CLG was never proactively forcing OpTic to use them in a fast enough way so that the cooldown had any effect whatsoever.
Yeah, it was the kind of thing, too, where because so much of the focus was on the top lane counter pick, that's where all the TPs that sometimes a marksman takes TP and they just TP back to lane. They don't do anything effective with it. Because there was so much power focused on the top lane, the TPs were actually very effective at canceling out CLG's game plan.
Yeah, and on that topic, even though the ending was a little bit sloppy by OpTic, I thought this was probably the best first 30 minutes of a game I've seen them play. It was very clean with the way they consistently used that teleport to get Dokla out of those bad situations. But the fact that there just weren't mistakes, right? Every other lane was playing completely fine, and that's a lot harder than you would think. So OpTic now, you could see on a 3-game winning streak. They had lost a bunch of games before that with the TL and the Clutch Gaming loss, but TSM win, C9 win, and now this CLG win, basically sweeping the old guard of the LCS.
Yeah.
So really looking up for them when 3 games ago, it was looking pretty dire.
The flip side of that, of course, is CLG's last 4 games. They are currently on a 3-game loss streak. They were 2-2 going into today. But let's talk about this squad because, funnily enough, we talk about the veteran status of these players, right? Most of these guys have been to an NALCS finals and won it, and played internationally. And here they are struggling to such a degree. You know, how do we feel about where they stand now 11 games through the split?
It's a little scary because a couple of those losses, like, okay, Team Liquid, we expect to be one of the best teams in the league. OpTic, while it's good to see the resurgence out of them, that's a win that they should be picking up. And in such a tight race, to be dropping games to teams that are not currently in that playoff picture is very detrimental.
Yeah, and there was a big upvote party on the CLG subreddit when they were in first place at 5-3.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They got too much faith too early.
And as someone who was very faithful in CLG in the spring split, I was getting people like messaging me, be like, Jat, you called it. Like, it's just later than you called it for. But I felt like in the spring, they were losing a lot of close games. And a week and a half ago, they had been winning a lot of close games. So a little bit had changed, but really not that much. And I think we're now seeing more of those things that were going wrong in spring split during this loss streak for CLG.
Well, a big pickup for OpTic Gaming as well. We didn't talk about the fact that Ari was played. She did get that tiny buff to her E. And, of course, Power Viva, one of the guys who's happy to experiment in the mid lane. Time for us to take a break. When we return, Echo Fox debut their new bot lane versus FlyQuest. Don't go anywhere.
The team's coming around. They're going to force the revive out of this, and they're still cutting away as First Blood comes through in the dive. As the team joins in, Darshan, he's going to be falling down for this one. The pickup is there.
Coming. I flashed. I can
Does
throw ulti.
that flash?
Yes. I threw ulti.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Here's the CLG engage. They have found that kill on the Big. That was kind of the mark that they were looking for. Acadian pushed back as well, but Arrow finds the shot to get the trade. They find the shot for the knockup. They found the pick on a Power of Evil.
Orianna 1 HP. Take the finish, guys.
CLG will fall. OpTic with a split push win takedown Aatrox and CLG.
The sub above difference is daily. Not shredded last night or baked yesterday afternoon. Good ingredients, prepped fresh every day. Because that's what daily means. Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.